I didn't know Uncle Ray lived in Detroit.
And that's where he lived when he died.
Oh. I guess I didn't realize it.
And Eileen and I, we'd go to Hudson's and all these nice stores, and we didn't buy much, but we had a good time shopping or just looking around.
Yeah, they demolished Hudson's.
And
Does Hudson's even exist anymore?
No. They imploded that building years ago.
Nancy and Cindy weren't born yet, and so we just had a real good time. And then my mom and dad and I would go on a Sunday and we'd go down there for dinner. And sometimes my sister-in-law would be there, and sometimes she would not.
Or she was being cranky?
Oh yeah. And but my brother would say, "I'm really sorry that Eileen's not here. She had something to do. We knew she was just mad and took off." And I said, "Well, I didn't come to see her anyhow, honey. I come to see you. We just had a good time without her."
And you and Uncle Ray always got along really well, right?
My brother and I, when we were real little, like up until the time I was 11 or 12, we fought just like all siblings do. But after that, we never fought. We just got along so good and had a lot of fun together. And in our neighborhood, there was a lot of children, but they were only all boys except 2 were girls. And my mama worked nights at that time. She went back to work for a while, and her and Daddy both worked nights, and so Ray and I were alone in the evening, and so in the daylight we would go out and we'd play kick the can or football with the boys in the neighborhood, but the boys weren't allowed to tackle me. My brother said, "Don't you dare tackle my sister. You would just touch her." And that meant she's tackled. And then we'd go in the house and we would make a whole oven full of toast. Or we would get out the crackers and have crackers with peanut butter between them. And he would stack his crackers up, see how high they could go that he could get it in his mouth. And if one of the boys would get mad because I was the only girl there playing, my brother would say, "Well, you don't have to play if you don't want to. My sister's playing."
Isn't that what Uncle Denny used to say about my mom?
Yeah, that's what he used to say about your mom. So anyhow, we used to have a lot of fun. I felt when he went to service, he says, "I'm not around to take care of you anymore, so you be careful."
Didn't he call you baby?
Yeah, you be careful, baby. And what him and Eddie would do, if I had a date, they would follow us. I never knew this, to make sure I was safe. I don't know what he'd have done if he thought somebody was going to, not treat me like he wanted them to. And I thought, oh my goodness, I never knew that. He always knew where I went, and I always wondered, how does he know I went to the show and seen this certain movie? Well, him and Eddie would follow us, and they'd go to the show too.
Oh my goodness.
He didn't follow you when you met me. I was in North Ender.
Well, he was married.
Oh,
Yeah, tell me about when you met Grandpa.
Oh, when I met Grandpa, I was dating a young man named Jim Scully, and he was a really nice guy. I'd known him for years, and if I would date somebody, and if I broke up with them, he'd always find out, and then he'd call me up, and we'd go out. And so anyhow, I was dating Jim again, and he would never say, "Well, next weekend we should do this or that." He would just think, "Well, next weekend I'm going to be here." And I said, "You better ask me for next weekend, or one weekend I'm not going to be here."
He just wouldn't ask you ahead of time. He just assumed
No,
you'd be
he just
available.
assumed that when he came home he worked in Pontiac. When we came home for the weekend, I was going to be there. And I thought, no, you better ask me ahead of time. Well, he never did. So this one weekend, I thought, I'm going to teach him a lesson. So I called the girls from the office, and asked them what they were going to do, and they said they were going to Knickerbockers. And I thought, oh my goodness, my dad will never allow me to go to Knickerbockers. But I thought, I'm going to go. So I told Mama, I'm going to Knickerbockers, but don't tell Dad. So I went to Knickerbockers with my girlfriends, and who did I meet? But George. And he came right from work, because he worked nights. And so he was dressed nice, but he didn't have a shirt and tie on and a suit coat. And that's how we dressed up then. And so when he came to the table to ask me to dance the second time, my girlfriend says, you going to dance with that guy that's not even dressed up? And I said, well, he danced good. So anyhow, we danced the rest of the evening, and then he wanted to take me home, and I said, no, I'm going home with my girlfriend, but I'm not going home with anybody else. So the next Sunday afternoon, he gave me a call, and then he called me Sunday night from work, and he called me every night from work until he retired.
You're kidding.
No.
Even before you guys were going steady, he called you every night?
Yep.
What would you talk about?
We didn't get to talk long because it was just during his break. And so then on a Wednesday, I met him on Saturday. On Wednesday, when he called me, he wanted to let me know if I'd go out with him after he got out of work Saturday night. And so I said yes. And so my dad was having a fit because I was going to go out on a date that late at night.
What time was it at night?
11 o'clock. Because that's when he got out of work.
Oh.
And so then Sunday afternoon he called me, and I had Jimmy Scully over for dinner that day because I had already invited him because it was my brother's birthday. So I'd already invited Jimmy to lunch, supper, or lunch or dinner or whatever. And then Grandpa called me every night, and then Saturday night. I don't know how that worked the first Saturday night. After that, I had his car. He'd come over in the afternoon and give me the car, and I'd pick him up at work.
Really?
On our way to the date, he would put his tie on and stuff. And then at lunch hour, I worked days. He would come over to Chevrolet and pick me up, and we'd go out to lunch a couple times a week. And then a few months after, well, it was before Christmas, he asked me to marry him. He went away, he went hunting, because he always a hunter. So in November he went deer hunting, but he didn't stay as long as he usually does, and when he got home, he missed me, and so he asked me to marry him. And I said yes. And so then he gave me a ring a couple weeks after that.
Oh my goodness. How did he ask you? What did he say?
He just had a ring.
I just sang, we'll build a sweet
Oh.
little nest somewhere out in the west,
Is that really what he did?
and let the rest of
No.
the world go by.
One of the times when we were just chit-chatting, he took the ring off my finger and he put it on his, just for kicks,
One of your normal rings,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And what he was doing to see what kind of size my ring was. So then,
So sneaky Pete.
so one of the times that he met me for my lunch hour, and we went, had our lunch, and then I don't know where we drove to, but around by the Chevrolet and all that. And while we were there, he had gotten my engagement ring, and he put it on my finger.
Oh my goodness.
And it fit, because he had already known what size to get.
That's cute, you guys.